Hey everyone, welcome back to Unbiased Magic Reviews. Today, I'm going to be reviewing Dani DaOrtiz's 7 Secrets, which was just recently put out by Illusionist.
Ta-da! Hello guys, I'm Dani DaOrtiz. This is my new work with Illusionist, with a friend of Illusionist. And in this show I introduce you a new 7 effects. Tell me, Peter, any card you want.
8 of clubs.
8 of clubs. 8 of clubs. Look. 8 of clubs. Yes?
Yes.
I only need something red, like the back. Look. But change the color. But not only that. What was your 9? What was the 9?
The 4 nines.
But your 9, the 9
Spades.
Spade. Give me the 9 spade. Give me the 9 spade. I take the 9 spade, not the rest. Not the rest. The 9 spade. Look. Change the color. I don't know how. I only need to wait. Look, red. And all deck now is red. Ta-da! 7 completely new routine from my conception, from my style, from my thinking way, from my work. Not only cards, also for first time I explain one with coin. Yes, it's not only a trick you can do in a session, in a professional session. No. Also, I explain you a few tricks you can do in a restaurant with your friends. One of these is the card.
No way.
Yes, I know because it's my trick. I know. In this new project, in this new work, this is what I try to teach you, to manipulate, not the deck, manipulate the spectator mind.
So if you're not familiar with Dani DaOrtiz, he's a Spanish magician from Spain who specializes in card magic. He's put out lots of really good stuff. Lately, he's put out stuff like Totally Hands Off, Know It All, or Not. These are all single downloads that he's put out that have been really popular. And here he's presenting you with 7 routines, 6 of which he performs. It's an hour and a half of downloadable instruction for $30 if you pick it up from Illusionist this week. I think they were regularly selling it for $35. Now, all of this magic is magic that has to be done from a seated position at a table. None of this is stand-up magic, and 6 out of the 7 effects involve either lapping or copping of cards or coins. So if you're not comfortable with lapping or copping of cards, then this is probably not the project for you. My initial impression is that I really liked it a lot. I found that 3 of the effects are effects that I definitely will continue to perform. I think that this is not the strongest magic that he's ever put out, but definitely some really good items here that I think a lot of people are gonna like a lot, and there's a lot of good thinking that went into this project. I'm gonna tell you guys about the 3 effects I really liked a lot. Then I'm going to tell you about the other effects, and I'm also going to tell you what I didn't like about this either, and then give you some final thoughts. So my favorite effect on here was called Psychological Color Changing Deck. And that routine is a 2-phase routine that relies on a huge discrepancy that amazingly nobody ever notices. So when I was practicing the routine, I was even really worried that the discrepancy wouldn't fly by people. Although everyone I've showed it to so far, they've never figured it out. They haven't noticed it. And I think the main reason is because your mind can only focus on one thing at a time. So if something is not important to you, you won't even notice it. And then after the fact, it's already too late. So the effect is like this. The first phase, a spectator makes a selection, like it looks like a free selection. You close up the spread, and then when you respread the cards, all of the mates of that selection are now face up. You take them out of the spread, and then you proceed to change the deck from one color to another. That's the whole routine. And it relies on a huge discrepancy, like I said, and it's just really great. The thinking behind this is very clever. So it's my favorite effect here on this set. I would highly urge you guys to check it out. I've had a really good time performing it for people. The second effect on here that I really liked a lot was called DaOrtiz Vanishing Card Technique. Now, this method or technique, I've kind of seen him use it before in his other DVD set called Here and Now, except he's using it in a totally different way this time because he's using it to vanish a card. Essentially, a spectator makes a selection, then the card vanishes from the deck and appears in a card box. And that's really what it is. And so if you do have his DVD set called Here and Now, then this will probably look familiar to you, at least the method. I think is really clever too, and I really liked it a lot. Something that I definitely will continue to be performing for people. Definitely very commercial. Now the third effect on this set that I think you guys are gonna like a lot is called his thought of any card at any number. Unfortunately, he probably should not have named it thought of any card at any number. He probably should have just called it predicted card at any number. Now, the reason I think it's really strong is because you make a prediction, you put it in your pocket, like you write a prediction on a card, you put it in your pocket, then the spectator freely thinks of any number they want to. They take the deck and they deal down to that number. You don't even know what number they're thinking of. They turn over the card at which they stop dealing at, and they're thinking of the number. Then you have another spectator reach into your pocket and take out your prediction. You ask the first spectator what number they're thinking of, and they tell you the number they're thinking of, and the card that they stopped at matches. The card that's in your pocket is a duplicate of the card they stopped at. And the number they're thinking of is written on the card. You will think of the number, and that's the number that's there. So it's really a great effect because it's impossible that you could do that. It's just, there's no way you could know all that. You barely even touch the deck yourself, which is what makes it so strong. Now, this effect is very, very similar to an effect by Al Baker called the Albaca Artifice. If you're familiar with the Albaca Artifice, then the method is very, very similar. So for those that do that, that's a very similar effect. You may prefer that one over this one or not. You may like this one more, but they're very similar, at least, giving you an idea there. So those are the three main effects I really enjoyed here on this release. I'll tell you guys briefly about the other effects here. There's an effect called Card in Card, where basically you have two cards selected, they're signed, then one of them vanishes, and then you proceed to pull it out of the other card that's being shown. And it's a very angle sensitive routine, and it does involve lapping, and it does involve kind of holding out of a card. So it is a little bit angle sensitive. Not something I would perform, but maybe some people would like it. Dani DaOrtiz says that it's the routine on here that he likes the most, that he really enjoys performing for people. Another routine on there is called Card in Bread, which would be a good routine if you're going to perform in a restaurant where a card is chosen, vanished, and then reappears inside a loaf of bread. And that also uses some lapping. Not something I would perform because I don't really perform in a restaurant setting, but some people might like that. There's another effect on there called Coin in Sugar, which is the only effect that has to do with a coin, where basically a coin and the sugar inside a sugar packet transpose. So you show a sugar packet, you borrow a coin, you put the coin in your hand. Next thing you know, the coin is now in the sugar packet, and when you open your hand, you've got sugar in your hand. So that's the basic gist of it. I think it's good, and I think it's just a basic coin transposition type effect. I think a lot of people would like it. Finally, the one effect on there that I really didn't like is called Different. And the reason I didn't like it is because this is a small handling change on an effect that was put out by Gabby Pereira's, which was called Incauto Bribón, which that effect is a variation of Pepe Carroll's 9-card Monte effect. So if you're familiar with Gabby's routine, Incauto Bribón, then you really shouldn't even bother with this, because Dani DaOrtiz is basically just trying to change the handling slightly, but I don't think it adds anything to it. I think it just kind of takes away from it. You know, if you are interested in the 9-card Monte type effect that doesn't rely on any kind of sleight of hand, you want one that just relies on gimmicks, you should take a look at an effect that was called Hustle, and that was put out by Juan Marcos, and that just is a gimmicked version of the 9-card Monte. It looks exactly like the Gabby version, except it's using some gimmicks, so it's not very examinable, but it looks the same, but there's no sleight of hand. I would urge you to learn the routine by Gabby. It is an amazing routine. Every single person I've ever shown it to, I've fooled them badly with it, because the small amount of sleight of hand is done in the right moment where they don't suspect anything. It is just, I think it's just close to perfect. Unfortunately, what Dani DaOrtiz has given you here, his small handling change, basically what he's done is he's eliminated the lapping, which that, unfortunately, it doesn't really add anything to it. And I really don't think it's good that you have a deck of cards nearby that you have to move. It just kind of muddies the waters. So I really didn't like it at all, and I wish he did not include it in this set. Overall, I would give this project 3 out of 5 stars. I think some of the stuff here is really good, and some of the stuff here I just would never use, and neither would you probably. This is definitely not his strongest material, but yet I still think it's really good overall. I think the teaching is really good, and I think difficulty-wise, I would tell you guys it's probably 3 out of 5 in difficulty. If you are proficient at lapping and copping cards, then this will be a piece of cake for you. If not, like I said earlier, you probably just want to stay away from it. So that's pretty much it for my review. I hope that you guys find this informative. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys on the next review.